Shirt Collar by Hans Christian Andersen. There was once a fine gentleman who possessed among other things a bootjack and a hairbrush, but he had also the finest shirt collar in the world, and of his collar he about to hear a story. The collar had become so old that he began to think about getting married, and one day he happened to find himself in the same washing tube as a garter. "Upon my word," said the shirt collar, "I have never seen anything so slim and delicate, so neat and soft before. May I venture to ask your name?" "I shall not tell you," replied the garter. "Where do you reside when you are at home?" asked the shirt collar. But the garter was naturally shy and did not know how to answer such a question. "I presume you are a girdle," said the shirt collar, "a sort of under girdle. I see that you are useful as well as ornamental, my little lady." "You must not speak to me," said the garter. "I don't think I have given you any encouragement to do so." "Oh, when anyone is as beautiful as you are," said the shirt collar, "it's not that encouraging enough. Get away, don't come so near to me," said the garter. "You appear to me quite like a man." "I am a fine gentleman, certainly," said the shirt collar. "I possess a bootjack and a hairbrush." This was not true, for these things belonging to his master, but he was a boaster. "Don't come so near to me," said the garter. "I am not accustomed to it." "Affection," said the shirt collar. When they were taken out of a wash tube, starched and hung over a chair in the sunshine, and then laid on the ironing board, and now came the glowing iron. "Mistress Widow," said the shirt collar, "little Mistress Widow, I feel quite warm. I am changing, I am losing all my creases. You are burning a hole in me. Oh, I propose to you." "You are a wreck," said the flirt iron, drifting proudly over the collar, for she fancied herself a steam engine which rolls over the railway and draws carriages. "You are a wreck," said she. The edges of the shirt collar were a little frayed, so scissors were brought to cut them smooth. "Oh," exclaimed the shirt collar, "what a first-rate dancer you would make! You could stretch out your legs so well, and also anything so charming. I'm sure no human being could do the same." "I should think not," replied the scissors. "You ought to be a countess," said the shirt collar, "but all I possess, consisting of a fine gentleman, a bootjack and a comb. I wish I had an estate for your sake." "What, is he going to propose to me?" said the scissors. Then she became so angry that she cut too sharply into the shirt collar, and was a big lady to be thrown by as useless. "I should be glad to propose to the hairbrush through the shirt collar," so he remarked one day. "It is wonderful what beautiful hair you have, my little lady. Have you never thought of being engaged?" "You might know I should think of it," answered the hairbrush. "I am engaged to the bootjack." "Engaged?" cried the shirt collar. "No, there is no one left to propose me." And when he pretended to despite all love-making. A long time passed, and the shirt collar was taken in the bag to the paper mill. Here was a large company of wrecks, the fine ones lying of themselves, separated from the corsers, as it ought to be. They had all many things to relate, especially the shirt collar, who was a terrible boaster. "I have had an immense number of love affairs," said the shirt collar. "No one left me any peace. It is true I was a very fine gentleman, quite stuck up. I had a bootjack and a brush that I never used. You should have seen me when I was turned down. I shall never forget my first love. She was a griddle, so charming and fine and soft, and she threw herself into a washing tube for my sake. I was a widow too, who was warmly in love with me, but I left her alone, and she became quite black. The next was a first-rate dancer. She gave me a wound from which I still suffer. She was so passionate. Even my own hairbrush was in love with me, and lost all her hair through glazed love. Yes, I have had great experience of this kind, but her greatest grief was for the carter, the griddle I meant to say, that jumped into a wash tube. I have a great deal on my conscience, and it is really time I should be turned into white paper. And the shirt collar come to this at last. All the wrecks were made into white paper, and the shirt collar became a very identical piece of paper which we now see, and on which the story is printed. It happened as a punishment to him for having boasted so shockingly of things which were not true. And this is a warning to us to be careful how we act, for we may some day find ourselves in a wreck bag to be turned into white paper, on which our whole history may be written, even its most secret actions. and it would not be pleasant to have to run about the world in the form of a piece of paper, telling everything we have done, like the boasting chocolat.